The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Geek.Nerd.Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Geek.Nerd.Tech.
Yeah. What you know about this, man?
Not much about this.
Are you
Return
serious?
Of the G.
Are you not an Outkast
A
fan?
group called Outkast out of the. This
But
is from
hey.
the AT Aliens record, I believe. No.
Nah, bro. This is from a
From an
Kumina.
eye.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right here. There it is.
Get your
Outkast.
data right, man.
All right. I was gonna do my Andre 3000 flow, but
Hey, man. Andre is one of the best in the game, brother.
he is. It is undisputed.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to
Yes,
Geek
sir.
Nerd Tech, the show we break down nerd culture, tech, and tech news from a black and brown geek perspective.
Yes, we do.
I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined as always by Achilles Shine.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
I'm good, man. Very, very good, man. Trying to the gangster, man.
Return of the Gangster.
How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm great. I'm here. I'm ready to jump some tech news. I'm ready to talk about some Apple stuff, and I want to get into. I saw Steve Jobs. I know you did. No, you didn't. But we can talk a little bit about that. But in the meantime, I want to get into Apple. Apple's still. Apple stays in the news, man. They're just nonstop. You know what's the first thing I just want to comment about is that like I don't can we recall another time in our history that a company is so not only ubiquitous in our pop culture, but that every move that the company makes from a product perspective, from anything from a personnel perspective, from a software perspective, any move that this company makes is news. So I can't remember the last, like GE, like Whirlpool, I mean like, General Dynamics, no, in the history of like tech companies or companies in general, Procter and Gamble, I don't know.
I think you've always had, any company that's been innovative has always been premier in news. When Kodak first came out with their camera, they were the premier. When the Model T first was invented, they were.
Sure,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
not every move Kodak made. Like,
Okay.
we've got a new word processing film.
So are you arguing that every move that Apple has made has been in the news?
I think
every
that,
move.
I don't know if it's a chicken and egg. Yeah, I'm
Not every move.
Not every move, but
Yeah.
it just feels like everything they do is newsworthy. Like they obviously have a PR machine sort of putting out these stories, but the fact that we pick up these stories and consume them is something.
It's an unfair comparison because we're in a state now where, like you said, everything is news. Like we live in a very data-centric society. So like, I mean, the PR machine, like everything has to be promoted through the machine versus before, maybe 10, 20 years ago, you only had a few channels.
Right.
So now like it's multi-layered, multi-channel. So I mean, I think a lot of that is organic, a lot of that is forced.
Sure. Well, we are continuing to help the Apple propaganda machine move forward by talking about the fact that Apple is prepping a 4-inch iPhone for 2016. Now, I thought this was like
That's news.
a ridiculous. Apparently, it is. I thought this is ridiculous when I first heard it, but then I realized that there's so many people that I know, especially in production, that love the old school iPhone 4s and iPhone 4s because they're like tanks and they're the metal and you can just throw them around and they're more durable. I don't like these new big flat phones, the fancy phones, and people really like not. When the iPhone 5s and the 5Ss came out, people were kind of like, liked them a little bit, but they were thinner and they were longer. And then these new iPhone 6s and 6Ss are like flatter and bigger.
Right.
People prefer that like square kind of that rectangle thick iPhone. I think the iPhone is recognizing that. Let's bring that back.
I don't know. This is a theory. This is not a fact that Apple's going to do this. Number one. Number two. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if people like that. I
Yeah.
think people like what they're being sold to, what they're being marketed to. I
Okay.
don't think that there's like millions of people that are like we want this size
Yeah.
dimension phone. Like I
Right.
don't think it's a demand like that.
Right.
But-
I don't know anybody who wants. Never mind. In my experience, no one wants 4 inches. Let's put it that way. My limited experience.
Hey, man.
I don't know. Like I said, like I hear it a lot. I hear a lot of people who just like are making excuses because they haven't bought the new phone. You know, people like, no, I like my iPhone 4.
Of course.
I don't even want a 6.
Of course. people that say that clearly
Right.
they're not in a financial position to get the new phone.
All right, so maybe I'm just being duped. Maybe that's need to come.
Yeah, I like my 3.
Yeah, my 3 is like it's just like a tank. I can just it's way better than your fancy phone that
Okay.
breaks all the time. All right. Next story is keeping on the Apple chain. Like this is a story talking about don't expect iPhone to get cheaper anytime soon. People thought like, you know, look, the more iPhones that are out and around, the more this technology gets, you know, to be part of what we're doing. The phone prices are going to drop down from $799. It should drop down. But what analysts are saying is that's not going to happen because we figured out a way with this whole monthly payment plan. Like, hey man, you can just pay monthly. That what this allows Apple to do is keep the phone prices the same or even more expensive.
Well, they're keeping it expensive because they have such a market share, and they have so much domination in the marketplace. Like they can, I mean, and people love. They created the brand so tough and so strong that people are invested. So they're able to have empathy. They're able to take people's emotions and translate that into money, into transactions. So yeah, I mean. Strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Why not keep raising the prices or keep the prices sustainable? Like I think, I mean, if you were on top, wouldn't you do the same thing? Why would you lower your prices?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So, I mean, I don't think that the market retail value of this phone is how much it costs to make it.
No.
Like I think we're definitely getting raped and on that side, but
Sure.
we're dumb and blind and we'll pay it.
Right. I want to pay what they pay. If I paid for this phone, what they pay the kids in China to make it. We would be a good deal.
Super, yeah.
No, I'm sure the kids in China are being treated very fairly to make my
Yeah,
phone.
man. What do you think about this new monetization play in terms of paying the monthly and essentially you're taking out a loan from the bank or the bank is paying for the phone, and you're having to pay that back to the bank over time. Like, do you like that? Do you think that's a good deal? Get a new phone every time they drop one, or you just pay you pay the monthly versus straight up?
We're essentially talking about a leasing program, you know, like you do with an automobile.
Exactly.
And I'm pro leasing. Personally, I like I am pro leasing. If you have the credit, and you can afford it. Like leasing is a good way to go with your car. Get a new car every 2 or 3 years. You know, build your credit with the bank. Build your credit rating that way. I don't know that it applies to your $600 iPhone, but I do like the idea of I want to. This kind of solves the problem of I do want the new phone every 6 months. I do want it, and I feel guilty about it, but I do want it every 6 months. So if there's a system in place where I'm just paying a monthly fee and I get a new phone every 6 months, every time I don't feel as ripped off by Apple. But they're laughing because they're getting more money from me in the long run, and they're getting me forever. But I don't know. It's pros and cons. I think I'm okay with it. I think that's how I'd be able to justify, because I don't have the iPhone 6S. I do want the 6S, but I don't have it because I don't want to do the whole rigmarole, you know. But I think that if I were in the program already, I'd just be swapping them out. So I guess that means as I'm talking it out, I think I'm pro it. What do you think?
I mean, I think it makes sense. Yeah, you're paying more money in the long run, but you're always going to want that's the gift and curse of technology. Like, you're always going to want the new thing, even though what you have is purely functional and sustainable. Like, but you're always going to want something new. Like, we live in a material-driven world, so I'm kind of caught on the fence with that because I desire to have the new stuff, but then in a way, what it's promoting in terms of a mindset. So, but me personally, I think I might adopt this new policy because I think I can afford it, and I think it's just a better move. But like socially, what I think it's going to do, I don't think it's good.
Right. Okay. Wait, just unpack that. Why not socially? Why is it not good
because,
socially?
Again, it's promoting like this material-driven thirst mindset, this consciousness. Like, hey, new. Waste.
Yeah.
Like, not. You're taking for granted what you have. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, every year or every 6 months, I'm gonna get something new.
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like I think it's called conspicuous consumption. Where it's that's when get a flat tire, buy a new car, it's conspicuous consumption. But this falls under that same in that same realm, and that can't be good. We can't survive like that as a society.
Exactly.
Like I got a scratch on my headphone. Give me some new beats. Or your boy Dame Dash. He was very, very famous for like popping tags every day. Never wore the same pair of socks, never wore the same T-shirt, never wore the same anything every day. I mean, I guess if you got it like that, but I don't know. All right, moving forward. Facebook, in the shocker of the year. We have this story every 3 months, so we'll just have it again. Facebook's Q3 ad revenues were up 45%, and they made $4.3 billion on mobile sales alone.
All sales.
On all sales. I'm sorry, on all sales. But 78% of all ad sales were mobile.
Correct.
So
they made like $3 billion off of mobile.
3.4 billion,
exactly.
off mobile alone. And that's just, these numbers are like really, really, really insane.
Yeah, that's just a quarter. It's crazy.
That's just one quarter. I mean, thinking about that, and like, and that's what, like, I'm just looking at this as like, Facebook, their monthly active users are 1.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like that's a lot of active users, and I don't know another product that's rivaled it.
Not at all. I think it's phenomenal what they've been able to do in the course of 10 years. Like grow something that started on a college campus to really affecting the whole entire world. 1 billion motherfuckers are on Facebook monthly. Like, and not just that, like most of them are on their phone. Yeah. Like integrating, communicating, posting, researching.
Which says, I mean, they were really ahead of the game in that, because no one really foresaw that mobile was the future, because when, not even 3 years ago, people were like tripping on like mobile, yeah, man. But like, people aren't walking around with their laptops.
Hell,
no one has a laptop under their arm and stopping. Hold on, let me check my Facebook. Like that's like, and the funny thing, that's how people envisioned it.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you can have your laptop.
And when you say it like that, like, why would you do that?
I know you wouldn't, but it's funny. Like in the 10-year life of Facebook, I would say 7 of those. The big thing with Facebook was like, oh, and good news, you're going to be able to take your laptop with you and check it everywhere you go. Right. But then it was like not until 3 years ago, people were like, really, it's going to be mobile.
Yeah.
And now it's 78% mobile. Do you think that number's going to go up?
Oh, without question. I mean, we covered this last week when we were talking about Google and what they're doing in terms of their search game, in terms of the ad revenue that they're making, and you can see the transition. You can see the regime change. How a lot of their desktop ad revenue was starting to decrease, and their mobile ad revenue was starting to increase. So it's across the whole universe in terms of companies and how how the monetization play they're doing with their products. It's all mobile driven. So I think it's definitely going to rise, because again, as we're just saying, more people are going to have more access to smartphones in the world. Apple's competitors will have to lower their prices, which will give more access to people. So people will be able to use Facebook, use Google, use all these apps as opportunities to be able to drive economy. So I definitely see it as an increase. Yeah. And then what Facebook is doing specifically with virtual reality, with Oculus Rift, the satellites they're putting up, like all sorts of stuff.
The drones that they bought, okay. It's more world domination by the Zuck. I'm not mad. Congratulations, Facebook. You own everything. Speaking of owning everything, Google's jumped the line here. Remember there's all this talk about Amazon. Amazon's going to get the drones. Amazon's going to be delivering stuff. Amazon. Now Google's like, hey man, 2017 our drones will be delivering packages. Mm-hmm. We're announcing it. What do you think of this? What do you make of this?
I mean, that it's still a battle. They have to get the FAA to approve it, and they're not going to do that until I think a year or maybe a year and a half from now. Right. So I mean, that's a long time. A lot could happen in a year and a half from now. So we'll see. I don't know. Like it's another thing where I'm like, again, on the fence about. Like I think it could be great in terms of commerce and how we ship and deliver goods and products, but also it could be like very destructive to our environment in terms of having stuff in the air that could fall and potentially kill people, or just the pollution of it, how that's managed, like what regulations and legalities are put in place to keep people safe. And I mean, when you look up and you see all this shit flying in the air, like you know what I'm saying, like it'll change our environment. So like I'm interested to see how the policymakers design what's feasible, or or if this is maybe 10 years out versus 2 years out. I don't know. Like,
Right.
what are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like it's coming. I just can't wrap my head around, all the obvious questions that we ask about kids throwing rocks at it, and like, drones, or like, multiple drones. I mean, I can't wrap my head around the whole, a fleet of drones flying in the sky, like that's being the norm, and having something like, landing and then taking off, and then having, I don't know, man. I mean, if I'm telling you right now, as a impetuous 12-year-old, 13-year-old Joe Braswell may or may not want to like take a slingshot to the drone and run.
Definitely. Definitely.
So I don't know. I don't get it. It's one of the things that sounds good on paper. I still can't wrap my head around the practicality of it. But then again, I can't wrap my head around the practicality of having the world in my hand on my phone. Yeah. So
I don't know. I disagree with that. I think you could envision this. You could see that this was a native thing that would happen over a course of time. In many respects, you could argue that with drones too, but I don't. Eventually, I think it's going to happen. I think the dialogue is like when, like it's going to happen within 5 years or within 15 years.
Right. Fair enough. This next story is really, this is so interesting to me. Amazon is opening a bookstore. Like the thing is, Amazon killed the bookstore, so now it's opening one. Like, and Amazon, not unlike Steve Jobs and Apple did and iTunes did with the music store, Tower Records and others, but no more Borders books. No more Walden books. I mean, the only one left standing is Barnes and Noble, which I still love, and a lot of those have closed. Yeah. But there's still some big flagship Barnes and Nobles around, and they're still great. I still love to go to them.
Of course.
Amazon's opening a bookstore, a brick and mortar physical bookstore in Seattle, their first one, and their thing is like, it's just a big advertisement for them. Like people like going to bookstores. People like browsing physical books. For them, it doesn't cost them that much money to open up and maintain a bookstore, and it's like a big advertising campaign. And if it adds to their bottom line, or their whatever their bottom line is of $300 billion, then great. What do you think of this?
I mean, I think it's a great case study for them. I know that they don't need to have a brick and mortar store, so I think it's more so the perception of seeing Amazon as a brick and mortar and maybe like raising the awareness in that specific market. And then when people actually walk into the store, like they're able to access books that you would find on Amazon for the same amount, for the same price point. So I think that's kind of cool because people do like the experience, and I think that they might be speaking to that. Like it's not just product centric. So maybe they're trying to speak to them in a different sensory way. Like, okay, come in and experience touching the book, looking through the books on the shelf and making your selects versus scrolling and boom, 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 bam. So I think that's kind of cool. Whether or not, I mean, because they killed the brick and mortar, like they are in a great position to revive it. Like their brand is that strong. Yeah. So I think it's a smart move actually. And then they could, I mean, it's also a real estate play.
Sure.
So they're buying real estate, which in a way is going to add more value to them as a company as well. So.
I love, still to this day, love going inside of Barnes & Noble. I was just in there, and I love the idea of that. I really miss the bookstore. I think that there's definitely some room in, I mean, like the Apple store still proves it. I mean, they're actually selling physical, products that you could just buy online, and Apple does have a mechanism in the Apple Store, the online Apple Store to be able to do that. But the Apple stores are still very, very popular. So I think that there's something to be said if you can come up with a new way and a cool way of making these stores destinations.
I mean,
I think there's a lot of room there.
That's exactly it. Like I don't know, have you been to Century City Mall? Have you seen the Tesla store?
Yes.
I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, so stuff like that. If it's cool like that, if the experience of walking in, like when you go into an Apple store, if Amazon is able to like replicate that, I think that they might be winning with the strategy. So
yeah, okay.
I'm interested to see why they picked Seattle as the first store opening versus Oklahoma, somewhere in Oklahoma or.
I think it's close to home. I think it's a home base thing. I mean, I think that they can keep an eye on it. It's just like it's they can, it's a test store, I imagine, but we'll see. We talked last week about Snapchat and James Bond coming in. Well, Snapchat Snapchat had this thing with Peanuts. I'm not sure what this is. They have these Halloween themed ads. Is what they've done. They're using these sort of Snapchat stars. I'm like, what is this? Like, it's like basically.
Essentially, it's an app where you take a selfie and a selfie video, or whatever, and it's an overlay of
Snoopy.
Exactly,
right.
and then you can open your mouth or smile, and then there's candy that goes into your mouth.
Got it.
So,
it's
it's kind of a gimmicky play, but I mean, it's for who they're targeting. I think
it's their lens thing.
pretty smart. So
got it. So Snapchat Lens is that the thing. Obviously, you can have heat vision coming out of your eyes or
Right.
rainbows coming out of your whatever. And so that's to have these sponsored. That's great.
Yeah.
Star Wars is doing this already, not on Snapchat, but their app allows you to do this. Allows you to take all these Star Wars selfies. You can have Princess Leia buns, and you can be frozen in carbonite and
Right.
share that, and that seems to work very well. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with this either. Speaking of the Peanuts movie, it comes out tomorrow. People are excited about this movie. I don't know, man. I don't really care about it. But the reviews are good. People are excited about it. It's computer generated, but kind of a 2D feel, not unlike South Park, but a little better than that. I don't understand.
it's actually 3D.
But it's in 3D. No, I'm saying but it's a 2D feel. Like they're like the way they move are like very much
gotcha,
like 2D. But the movie's in 3D.
Right.
So I'm assuming that's for depth and everything else. What do you make of this?
What do I make of the fact that people are excited about the movie?
Let me rephrase that. Are you excited about the movie?
Heck no.
Okay. Were you a Peanuts guy?
Not really. I mean, I watched it as a kid. But
Comic strip or nothing?
yeah,
Okay.
but it didn't really resonate with me. It didn't stick with me. Like, oh, that's part of my childhood. Like, I don't have those type of emotive feelings about it. Like, I mean, obviously, it's a classic, iconic thing, part of iconic character, a part of American culture, but.
Right.
Like, I don't know, me personally, it's not something that I'm running to the theaters to see.
Me neither. It never ever really resonated with me either, in any capacity. None of the gags I like. I mean, I think at some point as a kid, I liked the whole Snoopy and the Red Baron thing, and the Thanksgiving Christmas special and Thanksgiving special and Christmas special are sort of classics, but it never really resonated with me. And like, I do like that they're giving my boy Franklin some dap. The Black Peanut. Franklin, he's got he's showing up like in a big way, which is one of the main characters. So I got my eye out for Franklin. I want to see what he's. Although he has like a hockey puck in his
Right.
a hockey stick in his poster, which I don't know.
I mean, I do kind of, it gets me thinking now in terms of like the transgenerational element of the cartoon and like what cartoons were a part of my generation and maybe even my parents' generation that are still alive and kicking. We talk about James Bond in this sense, how a franchise could last over half a century. So I was just thinking, like, what other like cartoons are there like that kids or families or people still integrate with that maybe are 50 years old or 40 years old or decades old, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the two of them are brand. The two biggest ones I can think of are brands.
Right.
In Mickey Mouse and Disney and Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers. Like the whole Bugs.
But when has there been a Mickey Mouse movie that dropped?
Yeah, well,
That's what I'm saying.
They've got channels, and Mickey has a show, a hit show on right now on the Disney Channel.
But I mean film. That's what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
I know TV.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if one's coming. I wouldn't be surprised if one's coming. That would do well. I mean, they have that big video game launch, starring Mickey and all the characters. They have they've been doing a lot of things. I would be shocked if there's not something in the works.
When's the last time there's been a Mickey Mouse movie?
I
can't even tell you.
There was that Mickey and the Giant, the tailor, when he was like the tailor, and he was like fighting the giant with the thing. So I don't know. We'll see. Brand new Star Wars posters are out, and they are dope.
They are.
They are very cool. I noted this the first thing when my boys sent this to me yesterday morning. I'm like, still suspiciously, no Luke. Mm-hmm. No Luke. But so, what? Everybody's got their theories. What are your theories?
As to why there's no Luke?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that they're not revealing that's going to happen in the movie. And so I think there might be some type of transitionary element that they're injecting into the new narrative. I don't know, but I don't think they want to spoil that. And so maybe there's something that happened to him, or some type of transformation he went through, and so they don't want to showcase that look yet in the posters and promote it. Or
that's good.
Or the fact that, I mean, he's such an integral character to the narrative of Star Wars. Like, just to take him out as a conversation piece, like to get people talking, like, why, what's happening? Like, I think that's a smart play too. He might just be the regular dude, like the same dude. Like,
well yeah. It's me. I'm Luke. A couple of things there. I think that I got my theory is that obviously it's a plot point. J.J. Abrams revealed, like, obviously it's you'll find out that's like it's a key plot point. You'll know why when you watch the movie why Luke's not there. He's in the trailer. You know,
is he?
His hand's in the trailer. His robotic hand is reaching up on a.
Is he?
I mean, that looked like Luke's hand to me on R2.
Okay, it could be someone else's hand.
The robotic hand.
So
that got chopped off.
He's the only one that can have that hand.
That's very true. So my assumption is that he's in the trailer because he's narrating the trailer.
Right.
He's like, I have it. He shows his hand. My father has it.
Right.
My sister has it. So whatever that is, he's got some weird voice. The other thing is, Mark Hamill's made quite a name for himself as a voice actor. Like he's really ramped up. He's the voice of the Joker. He's the voice of a lot of different folks, and that's kind of his shtick now. Is he makes all of his money as a very famous sort of like character voice actor and does 1,000 different character voices. I think that Luke, something is going to happen to Luke where he's going to have like a Darth Vader like. I think he's going to go to the dark side. I think he's going to have a Vader-like transformation, and he'll be on the dark side. I think that his face will be covered again or something will happen, and we'll be getting some weird voice. It's a good opportunity for Mark Hamill to just be doing his voices. Maybe he's like, I don't want to be in the. Maybe I just want to do crazy voices.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see whatever it is. It's more Mark getting able to showcase his talents as a voice actor. So
right.
I think that's probably where we'll see him, which sort of falls in line with what you're saying. This whole transitional element of like his face or he's a robot or whatever. And the other thing is just like in Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, Obi-Wan showed up. He got killed. He was the whole movie. He was just floating around as a specter. That's a theme of Star Wars.
Right.
He shows up in Empire Strikes Back, like Luke. Like he shows up, there. Yoda shows up later at the end of Return of the Jedi. There's Yoda and Luke and Yoda and Ben and Anakin Skywalker all together.
Right.
So
I mean, I think, I don't know, this is just me theorizing, but I think it would be of most interest if they were to transition Luke from being, the protagonist more into a villainized type of character. So
yeah.
I think that would be an interesting play, and just to see, how that pushes all the characters in a certain direction if he takes such a 180 turn, So
that's a very interesting twist, and hopefully he can have a Vader-esque, sort of like arc where he starts one way and then ends up another.
Right.
Vader started as a bad guy in episode 4 and ended up a hero in episode
right.
5, 6. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be the same arc for my man Luke. Vulture did a thing on the 25 best on-screen female superheroes, something that I like a lot. It's interesting. It's just some of my favorites. Jamie Summers is Bionic Woman. I love, of course. These are all great, but of course, number one is Buffy, which I don't necessarily agree with, but one for me, number one is Linda Carter, Diana Prince. 75 to 79. That's my number one on-screen female person. And then, of course, rounding out the top 10, you have Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. Shots fired at whatever her name is, the other blonde girl who plays Mystique. Oh my God, Rebecca Romaine. Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Famke Janssen as Dr. Gray. Halle Berry as Storm. Ming-Na Wen as Melinda May. Chloe Bennett as Daisy Johnson, and then Lindsay Wagner, Jamie Summers. Like, what's the criteria of a female superhero on screen? Is it just how tight their shit is?
I think it's the criteria is their sex appeal.
Has to be.
Based on this list, their sex appeal and their ability to whoop ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you want to see a sexy chick just fucking shit up. That's dope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's empowering. It's empowering to people to see that, and I think, like it's just dope. It's dope.
What do we feel about the fact that Rebecca Romaine is number 14 as Mystique, and then, but.
I mean,
but
it's the
old Jennifer Lawrence is number 3 as Mystique.
It's the person that's curating, editing this list is probably someone that's a little younger, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
okay.
And I mean, come on, Doug. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That is kind of an interesting.
Like 14.
Yeah. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence is dope. I don't know if she's dope in that role.
Right.
You know.
I mean, she's dope, but
Yeah.
I mean, she's. I believe her. That's the way. She's in my category of I believe them, like right next to Matt Damon. I believe everything Jennifer Lawrence is. Whatever she's doing, I believe it.
Yeah.
So
she's on point.
Okay, so rounding out, Bond is coming out tonight at midnight, maybe earlier in some markets, like 7 8 o'clock, or maybe some 8 o'clock showings in some markets in your market. What they've been doing a lot, is in addition to the crazy amount of marketing, is people have been talking about binge watching. And Wired has got us to binge watch all the Bond movies, which I haven't really done in a while. I think when I was about 15 years ago, I did a good old-fashioned binge watch. But I haven't really done a binge watch in the era of binge watching.
When the hell would you have time to do that? It's over 24 films. It's over 24 films.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Like, I mean, let's say each film is 2 hours. Like, dog, that's like 2-3 weeks of just Bond.
I know. It's a lot. I don't know. And people, it's so interesting how
Maybe not that long.
How long tail this is, because every time there's a new Bond movie, everyone feels the need to go revisit all the Bonds, and they all go back on sale again, and they all get new packaging, and they all, it's I think it's a really crazy long tail franchise for the Broccoli family and for MGM, I guess. But I don't know. What's your favorite Bond film? Who's your favorite Bond?
Oh man, I love the current iteration. I think
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I think they've done very well utilizing him as an actor and him playing that role. Like I think I can't pinpoint out of any of the newer films one that is sorry. Like I think they all stand strong. Like Casino Royale, dope. What was the very last one? Skyfall, excellent.
Roger Deakins, man. Roger Deakins and cinematography was on point.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm appreciating it because obviously the international play, but the way that it's shot, like it's shot so beautifully, and when they go to different parts of the world, like it has its own feel to it. And I appreciate that about it. So, and obviously the action, the sexuality, all of that stuff is dope. The classiness of it all.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, but then I still like some of the classics too. So what about you?
I gotta go. It's weird. My people go whatever their Bond is. So like my mom is all about Sean Connery, and my Bond was one of the corniest Bonds. My Bond was Roger Moore, who in the 70s he was cool. In the 80s he was kind of like overweight and a little whatever. It's all like a joke, but he was my Bond. Like so I don't know. But the thing about this is, for me, is what I found about all these Bond movies is there's a definite the older I get and the more I look back on Bond, every single Bond of every era is never as good as I thought they were, except for Sean Connery and Roger Craig. Yeah. So when I think about like I remember when Pierce Brosnan got it, I was like, finally, that's perfect. He was supposed to get it back in the before Roger Dalton got it, but he got Remington Steele, and so he did Remington Steele, the TV show. Then Roger Dalton got it. And did it for two, I think his name was Roger Dalton. Whatever his name is. Moore? No, Timothy Dalton, excuse me. Timothy Dalton got it and did it. Timothy Dalton did it for two or three movies and didn't do well. He was the worst to me. Timothy Dalton was terrible as a Bond. He was the worst. Those movies don't. If you go back and watch those movies, the Living Daylights and it's the Living Daylights and there's another one. They do not hold up at all. However, when he did come back finally and got GoldenEye, I thought it was perfect. But watch those movies now; they're all corny.
Super corny.
All the Pierce, Tomorrow Never Dies, GoldenEye, the one with Halle Berry, they're all corny as hell.
Yeah.
And Living Daylights is also doesn't hold up. Then you go back. Then you got to go back to the Roger Moore days. Most of those don't hold up either.
Right.
Like, I mean, some of them do, but like, especially the later ones.
I think it's the prism in which you're viewing it as well. Are you juxtaposing the new iteration to the old iteration? Of course, it's not going to hold up.
Well,
they didn't have the cinematic technology to be able to execute some of the action sequences. But are you saying it doesn't hold up just in terms of the dialogue, the arc of the story?
For me, when I was watching those Roger Moore movies, I mean, I think in fairness, I think the first half of the Roger Moore movies works. The back half, starting at Moonraker, starts to get ridiculous. I mean, Moonraker is fucking ridiculous. He's in a space shuttle. There's that big space. They're trying to capitalize on the success of Star Wars, so they're in there shooting lasers at each other. Like, it's ridiculous. So it's really the battle in the space station at the end of Moonraker is probably one of the most ridiculous things in a Bond film ever. Although the opening scene of Moonraker, them jumping out of a plane with no parachute, is probably one of the dopest things in a Bond movie ever. Most of the opening sequences hold up across the board. All the Roger Moore opening sequences, for the most part, hold up.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I just feel like they really hit their stride. I feel like I got to jump from Sean Connery, and I got to jump all the way to my man. They're getting it right with Daniel Craig. They're completely getting it right,
man.
And he just did an interview basically saying, like, don't throw dirt on me yet. I know I said that shit, but I was mad. Like, I'm not gone yet.
Right.
No one, So sorry. Don't get mad at me. What do you think he's coming back?
I think he has one more in the tank.
Okay.
I was just looking at this though, man. How much do you think all of the Bond movies have grossed?
Oh my God.
How much money?
Oof. 24 Bond films. I'm gonna say. I mean, total, like DVD, everything else.
No, just box office.
Box office.
Yeah.
Okay, 24 Bond films. I'm gonna say 10 billion.
Okay, so yeah, you're a little under. It's about 11 billion.
Wow.
And so Mark Zuckerberg fucking made that in one quarter.
He's like, I found that in my couch cushion. Yes.
Man, that's crazy.
That's
right?
crazy.
50 years of
like
making movies, this classic film franchise, and he made half of that in one quarter off of Facebook.
The Broccoli family and MGM and In Fleming family are patting themselves in the back. We did it. And Zuckerberg's like, good job, guys. I'll see if I can beat you next quarter. I'll see if I can beat your life's work in one quarter.
Seriously.
That's a crazy stat. We got to get out of here. Really quick, let's touch on some things. I saw Steve Jobs. I liked it a lot. We'll talk about it more. I liked it a lot. Very talky, very Aaron Sorkin-y. Pretty much like a play, but it was very good. What else we have? There is Activision buys Blizzard. Activision Blizzard buys Candy Crush maker King. Candy Crush is huge. Huge. King cannot be bigger. How much do you think you're going to the answer? $5.6 billion Activision paid.
Yeah.
They paid $6 billion with a B?
6 B's.
Candy Crush? Wow. That's something.
They have a user base of 500 million every month. Wow. Which is half of Facebook. That's huge. That's huge.
Zuckerberg's like, hey, it's not bad. It's half what I got.
But you got to think, most of the people that adopted Candy Crush did it because of Facebook.
Right.
Getting those fucking game invites all the time, or that's Facebook.
I mean, also, you know who I feel bad for this in all this? Who I feel the worst for is I can't remember the name of it. What's the farm?
Farmville.
Farmville.
Yeah.
Farmville was the shit. And now it's like nobody's talking about Farmville.
Yeah.
Farmville's got pushed to the side. The poor Farmville guys was like, he was rich.
Man.
I wonder if they cashed out. I hope they sold and cashed out.
I'm sure they did.
And live in a real farm somewhere, and now they're like not holding out like the Snapchat guys did, because Farmville is dead.
Man.
I don't know. All right, that's all I got. Anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, man. I think that's good, man.
Okay.
Have you seen what's my movie? We never talked about it. I'm drawing a blank now. The drug cartel movie.
Sicario?
Yeah, Sicario. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just seen it. That was pretty dope.
That. Sicario is incredible.
Are you a wolf, Joe?
Is that the Sicario line there?
Yeah. Are you a wolf?
I have to be a wolf, I guess, in this instance, under that iteration. I do like the idea, just really quick on Sicario, how it's like, this guy, Chris Ryan, characterized it as a war movie, and it's really just sort of about, like, it's like the apocalypse now of the drug cartel. It's really more, because in that, it's not about, resolutions or answers. It's just about, this is what we're doing, and this is what it is, and, war is hell, and we're at war, so get ready.
I don't know. I have a different take. I think it is about a resolution. It's a vendetta. It's a personal resolution. Like, you killed my family.
No, in that movie, but I think the larger, when we think about the drug war in a larger sense, it's not the way they're.
There is no resolution. It can never be.
There's no resolution, but there's no resolution, but there is. The question becomes, like, what are our methods to battle this? Our methods and this is, in other words, this is not a police situation. This is not federal. This is not a local police situation. This isn't a federal FBI situation. This is a CIA militarized situation. You got, like, SEAL Team 6 going in and dealing with the cartels on a CIA level, and
that's nothing new. I'm confused with what you're saying.
The way we're dealing with the way we're publicly fighting the war on drugs, theoretically, I know we're having this is a multi-layered conversation, but let me just stick with me on this tack. The way we physically battle the war on drugs, in the Reagan Nazi era, and we're going to war on drugs, has been mostly in a strictly law enforcement thing with DEA and whatever.
Of course.
Now, what they're saying is, this is not a law enforcement level. This is a military operation, is what they're saying. Now, what you want to talk about like how complicit those administrations have been, dating back to Nixon and and through Reagan and through Bush 41 and Bush 43, even Clinton, like how complicit they've been in sort of like allowing the drugs to come in this country. Sure. But I'm just meaning, like, for the purposes of this movie, like, what we see is, what's the difference between this and Traffic, the movie Traffic, the Steven Soderbergh movie, is we've escalated how we have to fight this drug war. That's all. What do you say?
I don't know, man. Maybe we could table that. I have a lot of takes on that because I don't agree with that. I don't think we've escalated. I think it's always been a CIA run operation.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I'll just put it like that.
Yeah, well, okay.
And so I mean, when it's being unveiled in this movie, like, that part didn't surprise me. Like, in terms of, like, the greater dialogue of the movie, the takeaway of the movie, like that wasn't the shocking part to me. Like, oh, it's not on a localized level, the fight against the war on drugs. Like, to me, it's always been on an international level. Clearly, most of the drug trafficking comes from outside of the United States. So obviously, that already brings in the CIA element.
Not publicly.
What?
But that's not how it's been. That's not how it's portrayed to the American people. That's not how it's portrayed. Like, we're not allowed to do that. That's the whole point. Legally, we can't. What you're saying is not legal.
I get that part. I get that part.
We're just saying, like, this is Emily Blunt's whole thing. Like, none of this is legal.
No,
like,
I get that part.
I work for the federal government. I have the highest authority.
You're saying to you that's shocking?
No, that's shocking. I just thought it was cool. I'm not saying like this. I can't believe the CIA is involved. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's cool to be able to, like, to ask those questions for the more naive folks, even less naive than me. Like, wow, the war on drugs isn't your local cop busting some, drug dealers in the corner.
Right.
It's not the DEA or the FBI doing a sting operation on a drug dealer or even a drug cartel.
Right.
It's more serious than that. It's military operations that involve, like, night vision and SEAL teams and all kind of other stuff going on. That's all.
Drones
and all kind of other stuff going on. Before we get out, I do want to mention we forgot to mention our wonderful people, our friends at DraftKings. We're still doing our thing with DraftKings. I still am doing my fantasy football. I'm doing great in my personal league. I'm also doing pretty good on DraftKings as well. DraftKings is a system, if you don't know, that allows you to play fantasy football every single week with a brand new team, a brand new set of players. You don't have to join a league and wait 16 weeks to do anything else. You can get your money every single week. In fact, DraftKings makes a brand new millionaire $1 million every single week. So you can join DraftKings now. It's a life-changing payday. What you can do here You can sign up and use the promo code GEEK. Go to DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. Use our promo code GEEK, G-E-E-K. You can play free and for your shot to $1 million for this week or next week. And not too many weeks in the football season left, but there's also fantasy. They do baseball, they do basketball, they do all these other things. So be sure to check all that out. They make a new millionaire each week. And so that's it. DraftKings.com. Check it out. And welcome to the big time. That's all I got to give it a shot.
There it is.
All right. Let's get out of here. That's all I got. We can talk more about Sicario and the drug game later, but good performances by Emily Blunt and your boy Josh Brolin and your boy Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of other crazy, like, really well-done supporting performances.
Man.
And we mentioned
great acting.
We mentioned it before. I mentioned Roger Deakins, who shot Skyfall. Roger Deakins shot this, and he's like the best.
Man, like
He's the best cinematographer.
We'll talk about it offline.
Ever. We'll talk offline.
We'll talk about it.
All right, it's Roger Deakins, y'all. Check him out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Geek.Nerd.Tech.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
That Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.